The following is rated not safe for work. It contains strong language, adult situations, and lots of spoilers. Discretion is advised.
In the criminal justice system, cinematic-based offenses are considered especially heinous. The dedicated attorneys who investigate these villainous films are members of an elite squad known as the Reels of Justice. These are their stories.
Order, please, order. The Reels of Justice is now in session. Judge Dylan J. Schlender presiding. Your eyes for the Honorable Judge Schlender.
Be seated. Welcome to the Reels of Justice. Today we are hearing the case of the people versus F9, a 2021 action movie chronicling the exploits of Dominic Toretto and his crew as they take on a mercenary with world-ending plans. And that mercenary just so happens to be Toretto's brother. For those of you unfamiliar with our court proceedings, we are here to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. As always in this courtroom, films are to be considered excellent until proven awful, and the burden of proof lies upon the prosecution to prove beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt that this film is guilty. Mr. Maynard Bangs, you are appearing on behalf of the prosecution. You may present your opening statement.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen, F9. Apart from being a rather underutilized key on your home keyboard, unless you refresh Word documents a lot, it's also the 9th entry to the Fast and Furious saga. If you're not familiar with the Fast and Furious movies, they're the ones that inspired an entire generation of douchebags to rev their engines as loud as possible when they go through quiet suburban neighborhoods. They're the ones that taught an army of underachievers that you don't need a personality as long as you have a sweet whip. And they're the ones that slowly devolved into some sort of gearhead-filled, unholy offspring of Michael Bay's Transformers and the MCU. And this last entry is probably the worst offender of the bunch. Physics and logic is thrown out the window as the film barrels down the highway at 106 miles an hour, leaving character development and cohesive storytelling in the dust. F9. Yeah, the F stands for fast and also furious. But you know what else it stands for? Failure. Forgettable. Fuck you. All very apropos of this mind-rotting dreck some imbecile decided to label a movie. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bangs. Appearing on behalf of the defense is Mr. Simeon Goodson. Please present your opening statement.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Your Honor. It's my pleasure to be here presenting the case of F9. In this story, we learn of a distant relative of our main character, Mr. Toretto, who turns out to be his estranged brother, who is estranged because he killed his father. This is something that we did not know in the last 9 movies. The Fast franchise, in and of itself, is about family, first and foremost. So the prosecution's assertion that it's merely about fast cars and douchebaggery indicates that he's just not familiar with the source material. All he sees are the explosions. It's representative of corporatism, how things always have to be bigger and better, and the real underlying messages throughout the spaceships, throughout the meteors and the submarines. It comes down to one thing, and that one thing is family. So, ladies and gentlemen, unless you hate your mother, I present the case of F9. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. Goodson. Mr. Bangs, you may proceed with your first exhibit.
Well, I just so happen to hate my mother, so I will proceed.
God damn it.
The tone of this film is all over the place. It seems like it should embrace being this mindless spectacle of stunts, but actually spends a lot of time on melodrama, this family crap, right? Firstly, it opens with this fiery, emotionally overwrought scene where we see how Dom's father dies in a car wreck. And there's no wink or nod here. This is supposed to break your fucking heart. And then we're introduced to Dom's long-lost brother, John, played by John Cena, who apparently has a hard time playing characters with different first names. And we've heard absolutely nothing a fucking about for the prior 8 movies. So for a guy who's obsessed with family to cut a whole member of his family out of even conversations with people, it seems a little extreme. But he's blocked him out.
That is the very definition of the word estranged, Your Honor.
That's true. They say he's estranged.
You can't expect his estranged brother to pop up in conversation. He's estranged.
He would cease to be estranged. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Not an unfair point. I'll let you keep going, though, Mr. Babe. Get the point out.
So he's blocked him out of his mind because he thinks he's responsible for his father's death. And the movie tries to hand wave off how ridiculous that is by having, like, Charlize Theron's character Cypher later compare John to Quasar Khan, the little brother of Genghis Khan, who no one's ever heard of either. If we
also estranged.
If we lean into how lazy our writing is, well, nobody can really accuse us of it, right? So this relationship is really played dead serious, despite how little John Cena looks like Vin Diesel. Diesel's
character,
is like
objection. They had matching silver necklaces, Your Honor.
Anyone can buy those.
They had matching silver necklaces with the cross that represented the church they used to go to. Come on.
I respect the passion, but I am going to overrule that. John Cena looks nothing like Vin Diesel.
Oh my God,
nothing like him. John Cena is the most Irish-looking dude since the Notre Dame Leprechaun. The film tries to, again...
We've never seen Toretto with hair.
Well, that's fair.
All right, a slight carve-out for if he had hair. Please continue.
Now, that's true. Now I want to see Vin Diesel with that haircut. That would be sweet. I also like how Vin Diesel and John Cena's, their hair never changed from the time that they were 14 years old. They have the exact same hairstyle from then till then.
I mean, they also never changed, so...
Yeah, exactly. They never changed clothes. It's nothing but white t-shirts.
I mean, listen,
the whole time.
These guys work for the government, bro. Like, the government doesn't just, like, call them up. Like, they send someone in a helicopter to be like, hey, we need Toretto for this. And Toretto's just a dude. He's not an Avenger. He's not a superhero. He's just a dude who loves his family so much that he's capable of pulling off the impossible.
He's just a dude who drives really good.
He's good at driving. You have no idea.
And again, the film tries to hand wave the fact that Cena doesn't look like Dom by making a joke about the mixed bloodline of the Toretto family, because it's easier to make the joke than to cast someone who just looks like Vin Diesel. Anyway, this whole thing's it's supposed to be this silly action romp, but nobody fucking told John Cena. He plays this whole thing straight as hell. And the movie has several moments of cringy melodrama, like an extended flashback where Dom recalls moments leading to his father's death, and a lot of scenes with him interacting with his, like, annoyingly attentive child. And so, why is this bad? Because the rest of the film is filled with, like, cars flying in fucking space and fast-paced chase scenes with, like, electromagnets. Like, these melodramatic scenes clash against the rest of the movie, basically undermining any impact these emotionally resonant moments could have on the viewer. They all come off as completely corny and lame against the absurdity of the rest of the film.
The absurdity.
Would you like to address that, Sim? Do they clash or do they complement?
Film is a cinematic choice. It's a stylistic choice. It's very much in your face. It's a mockery of modern cinema, and we eat it up. It's still the highest grossing franchise outside of the MCU. So just from its place in movie history, it belongs. It's very much a tentpole of postmodern cinema, and this is the culmination of that. Because the very first movie, they were literally just racing cars, and now they're in space, baby.
Yeah,
and
they made
the greatness of the franchise. All jokes aside, that is why the Fast and Furious franchise is amazing, because they just keep taking it as far as they can go, and you know they're gonna go someplace ridiculous, and they, like you said, they hand wave it off. They're just like, oh, we got to get EMPs to fly this chopper so we can drop, a cyborg onto the moon. And, like, that's all normal. That's all normal in this universe. And even in a universe where that's normal, where a dude who races cars so well he gets to go to space by the government, he still has problems with his bitch. And that,
It's something we can all relate
ladies
to.
and gentlemen, is art.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the car in space, because I mean, I don't want to go too much into like the believability of the film, because yeah, it totally leans into doing the impossible intentionally. But if you look at the rest of the series, I think you find like it leans more towards like Mission Impossible, where improbable things happen, but not necessarily impossible, which is ironic. But this film leaves that behind. It goes straight to like Roger Moore era, like Moonraker ridiculous.
This is like Batman from the 60s.
Yeah, and that's not always a good thing. You know, it jumps the shark with shark repellent on. Quite intentionally.
As soon as this one came out, they were like, the next one's already in progress. Like, we know they're working on something stupid. Like,
yeah, it better be time travel.
Who knows who they're going to cast in it? Remember, that was a good franchise, too.
You see, they just have to get their cars up to 88 miles an hour, and then boom, Ludacris will be doing he'll be crunching the numbers.
You're on thin ice, Mr. Maynard.
They send a car to space. They have this ridiculous chase scene at the end where they have electromagnets in the cars that let them pull shit off the road and pull other cars, but like they don't just end up crushing their own roofs and axles. Like for some reason their cars are resistant to magnets. Like even though probably the engine should just stop running.
The polyurethane fiber that the government made.
No, their whole car is not made of polyurethane fiber. Ludacris might have said it. That doesn't make it true. You know, they got. There's a scene where
the thing about that statement in the second Fast and Furious, they were partying to Ludacris music, so Ludacris exists in that universe.
That's true. Ludacris does.
But driving is not Ludacris. He just bears an incredibly striking resemblance to Ludacris. It's Ludacris in the Fast universe.
Tej. Yeah, and everyone tells Tej that he probably looks a lot like Ludacris.
Right, he's probably sick of that. That's why he's so sarcastic.
Yeah, exactly. There's a scene where the car swings over a gorge, basically hanging by its axle, which would have ripped off. A car drives basically up a vertical sheer cliff when a rope bridge breaks. And constantly people are falling from like 30 feet, but as long as a car catches them, they're fine.
Right.
Like, it's like scoops in and grabs them.
Right.
And they're fine. And what's the problem is, and the movie even talks about it, is that the number of the times these guys should be dead by now is astounding. And, you know, you have Tyrese suggesting, well, maybe we're invincible for having survived all these unsurvivable collisions and shootouts. Again, as if acknowledging it means they're in on the joke, so it's okay. But the problem is that when you let them survive these impossible circumstances, it takes away any of the tension created by the action sequences.
But there's absolutely no tension intended in the action sequence. Like, there's no, like, people don't even get hurt in these franchises. Paul Walker died in real life, and they won't acknowledge he's dead in the franchise. They're like,
no, they won't let him die.
He can't make it, but he's with his family. Like, these people are like beyond superhuman. Like, that's the beauty of the movie. Like, there's no tension.
But that's the problem. Why action movies are supposed to have tension. I'm supposed to be worried they're going to die in the course of this.
The tension in the Fast and Furious series is what ridiculous shit are they going to do next? That's the tension. And like they'll indicate it. They'll be like, the only way we can get on that is if we get in space. And you're like, here it fucking comes. And that's the beauty of those movies. Because the first act, they'll just mention some ridiculous shit that's very improbable that they'll be doing by the end of the movie. They're like, oh, imagine we had a time machine and what? That would be ridiculous. And then here we go. You're like, oh, I guess I know where this one is going.
Ludacris would go back and he'd buy Amazon stock. He knows what's up.
Right.
But I do think the action movies should be a little more grounded in reality, because I do think that tension is important, you know? Like, Bruce Willis isn't immortal in Die Hard. That's why you get worried every time someone shoots at him. Unlike the characters here who, they're cartoony.
Can you recapture that, though? Because we're all familiar with action movies at this point. Like, is there really...
I think Fast 5 gets closer to that.
Okay.
I think movies like Fast 5 earlier in the series are closer to that, where there's a possibility Dom could die in
genuine movie. But now they're just like
Yes.
making over the top ridiculousness. And that's
Yes.
why it's great. Like, how else?
Same thing you said, but that's why it's bad.
There's no other way they could keep making these movies if they tried to remain grounded in reality. Like, they have to go this route, or they have to stop making these movies. And the fact that they
How about
keep
the
making
second
them,
thing?
like they
How
keep
about the second-
one-upping themselves, it, to me, is amazing. Because they were literally on the nuclear submarine, the last one. And we were like, all right.
Yeah.
And now there's
Now,
so it's like, what's next? They're definitely making another one, and that's the
they are.
at this point.
They're
Exactly.
making 2 more.
They are making 2 more. And you know this, they can't stop at 11. It's just not a good round number. They're going to have to do 12. On my next point, this movie is really lacking a lot of the big stars that made the last few movies great. Like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's not in this film, and his character Hobbs has been a staple of the franchise since Fast 5. Jason Statham, who played a major role in 7 and 8, is also basically not in this movie, except for a brief mid-credit cameo. Kurt Russell, who played Mr. Nobody in 7 and 8, is reduced to a little brief flashback cameo and might even have gotten killed off camera, but probably not. He probably survived. Charlize Theron, her little villainous cyber terrorist Cypher, is back, but is basically benched most of the movie. They stick her in a goddamn goldfish bowl for most of the movie. She maybe gets 6 or 7 minutes of screen time, and it's like, why was she even there? Helen Mirren gets a cool, nifty chase scene that actually wasn't all that bad. And also notable from this is the writer, Chris Morgan. He wrote all the movies since Tokyo Drift, since the 3rd one. This is the first one he didn't. But what the movie lacks in stars, it makes up for in lackluster cameos. You got rappers like Cardi B and Bad Bunny making appearances, as do several forgettable tertiary characters from the previous movies, and even archived footage of Gal Gadot. And the film also retcons the death of Han Lu, making up some bullshit reason he didn't really die.
Yeah, that was
But nobody helped him fake it or whatever. So you heard it. It was dumb. And so even the movie doesn't care to explain why this really happened. It's just like, yay, Han's back. And sorry if that sucks a lot of the impact out of his death if you revisit the 3rd and 6th and 7th movies. But to me, this was talked about. The worst cameo of all has to be the last shot of the movie when Paul Walker, who died IRL in 2013, his character Brian's car pulls into the driveway so he can eat with the gang. And it's like, just let Paul Walker fucking rest in peace.
Right.
I can't understand. I could understand why they didn't kill him in the 7th movie, but what they should have done is put him in witness protection program so that he's impossible to contact, because otherwise, retired or not, why wouldn't you call Brian when a juiced out psychopath tries to hijack every weapon system on the planet? Now you're stuck making excuses every movie for why you never call him.
Well, he's with his family.
All right. Yeah.
No, fuck that. The whole world's going to end, and everyone's going to die, including his fucking family.
The whole point. Once again, the movie is about family. I mean, you make very good.
Well, Brian's going to sit back and let Dom's family die
why
too.
F9 as a standalone film is not very good. But I'm arguing more on behalf of the entirety of the franchise. And I think F9 is an excellent culmination of this series of events that we've seen this group of people go through together.
You know what family does, Sim? Family sticks together.
Exactly.
So Brian wouldn't just sit his ass at home while Dom's going to almost die trying to save the world.
Yeah, but
he'd get his ass out there and help him.
That's why Dom's not calling him. Because he knows Brian would drop everything and ruin what he's got. And Dom's not going to.
And then he's going to come to dinner at the end of the movie, and they're going to be like, oh, hey, by the way, we just saved the world. And he's going to be like, Dick, I could have really helped. Or you were just going to let me sit at home and maybe die in a nuclear winter? You could have called me. I could have gone to space with Ludacris.
They
the last
had
point
him
I
on the
want-
ground in case they needed him last minute.
I like that.
The last point I want to close out on is that John and Dom basically reconcile their differences at the end and work together to save the day, which is very little impact because we only just met his brother. We see them interact very little, and Fast 10 was already set to be made. So why not wait to unite the two? Just why not drag this will they, won't they make up thing across a few movies so that when they do inevitably reconcile, we can be like, oh, hey, this arc has been going on for 2 or 3 movies. I really feel this now. And John Cena, by the way, doesn't even have a change of heart. His partner betrays him. What was John Cena going to do up to the moment Otto stabbed him in the back? Oh yeah, he was going to hold the world hostage. He had no intention of making up with Dom until he was double-crossed. And then it's like, oh, hey, can we be brothers again? Real sorry about the whole taking over the world thing. My bad. And with that, the prosecution rests.
All right. Well, I mean, family prevailed.
Well,
I'm sorry.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Bangs. And Mr. Sim, I'm sorry. Is it Goodson or Goodson?
What did you just say the same thing twice?
He did.
I thought I was saying it differently. All right, Mr. Goodson, you may present your case. Jesus.
I mean, once again, as a standalone piece, I think F9 is a great mindless romp into space. I think there is a place in cinema for that, where things don't have to all come together, where the rewatchability comes from the absurdity of it. I think there is still tension based on the fact that they keep, one-upping themselves in this, with these stunts, with these events, with these circumstances that these characters have to go through. There is a shallowness to it, but I think that's very much part of the experience. I don't think we should have to wait 3 or 4 movies for them to reconcile. I think they should do it right away because, as we see, sometimes your main characters die in between shoots, and you gotta, wrap shit up. So I think the F9 series is excellent. I genuinely enjoy watching them. I do also enjoy analysis about, why they're awful. So that is part of the joy. So I'm not even against the prosecution, but I think the prosecution kind of proves my point as to what makes these cinematic experiences so great. And with that, they deserve a place in the Hall of Great Films. That's my case.
But these movies aren't even as mindless and actiony as they could be, right? Like if you're going to really lean into it, then send them through time. Or, why isn't there a lot more nudity in these series? I mean, if we're going to go into straight, like,
PG-13, baby.
Oh, family, nothing. Like, come on. What kid's going to watch this movie and really be all that entertained about family?
Oh, no. Yeah. No, wait, what? No, those are... What? I mean, are you saying that kids don't like the Fast and Furious franchise?
They can't even drive. They wouldn't get it.
They wouldn't get it.
They wouldn't go over their heads.
There's like actual rocket launchers in the movie.
Well, there are.
Right.
Some, yeah. But,
and all kinds of things. There's races. They drove out of a building in one of them.
Kids love tits too, so put some of those in the movie.
I mean, all right. Okay.
Thank you. There you go. As long as we can agree on that.
I mean, I'm not against
get a little bit,
but okay.
Yeah, get a little more softcore nudity in some of these. Then they're going to be a lot more summer blockbustery. I think. Right.
Who are the women? I mean, like introduce like a. Well, yeah, okay. It would have to be like what's her name, Michelle Rodriguez.
Michelle Rodriguez. Why? Why not?
Right.
I'll give it a shot. Why not bring Gal Gadot back from the dead? We can do it. We did it with Han, so we can just bring Gal Gadot right back.
She's just like a nude corpse on the table just to show it.
It's not Death on the Nile again.
As long as it's tasteful.
Right.
All right, order in my court. Let's move past the nudity.
Inside her body. We gotta go get
her.
Well, someone's definitely going to be furious.
Sim, is there anything else you'd like to say in defense of the film?
No, I've said everything that I have to say in defense of this cinematic masterpiece.
All right. Both sides have rested their cases. The attorneys will now present their closing arguments. Mr. Bangs, you may begin.
Your Honor, instead of addressing the jury in my closing statement, please indulge me in addressing my closing statement to one Dominic Toretto, star of the Fast and Furious franchise. Hey, Dom. Maynard here. How's it going? Hey, I just saw your movie F9, and it got me thinking, maybe the next time you uncover like an international conspiracy to hijack the entire world's weapon systems, maybe you should consider calling the police or the army or the media, like start a firestorm, do the whole whistleblower thing, like maybe Interpol. who I noticed actually arrested you during this movie, and yet you still failed to alert them to the imminent world-threatening danger. Maybe like oh hey, those evil rich dudes, they have a top-secret technology, Project Ares, that can like destroy the whole world. Maybe give them one of those. Give it a shot. I know it's more your style to try to thwart these types of plans with, let me see here. Cars. That's great. But it'd be really super if you didn't hinge the entire survival of the human race on some torqued up grease monkey in a 1970 Dodge Charger. You know, sometimes it's not enough just to be fast and furious. Sometimes you have to learn when to be smart and serious, too. I know the smart and the serious isn't as catchy a franchise title, but it can really pay dividends sometimes. So, just some food for thought. Thanks, Dom.
Thank you, Mr. Bangs. Mr. Goodson, you may present your closing argument.
Mr. Toretto, you're doing just fine. We love you, and it's all about family. I rest my case.
All right. Thank you both.
Probably would win him over, honestly.
Yeah, you say family. Yeah. All right. Thank you both. Members of the jury, Mr. Dylan J. Schlender, Mr. Big Ben Haslar, and Mr. No matter how fast you are, no one outruns Ryan Luis Rodriguez. You have all heard the facts concerning the case. It is now up to you to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. The bailiff will escort you to the deliberation room to render your verdict.
If they did not call the next film Fast 10 Furious, we riot.
And I just want to add, F9 for me is lower volume.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
For me, it's a home button.
I got a Mac.
Mine has an envelope on it. All right. So going into this case, I had not seen a single Fast and Furious movie. I knew that the first one existed and people liked it, and then I blunk, and all of a sudden there were 10 of these things, or 9 of them, and The Rock was catching a missile. So I had to watch all of them as fast as I could. I skipped 4 of them to sort of catch up. So I have a lot of feelings going into this as to what exactly I was missing. But I'm curious, Ryan, what did you think of this case?
What I thought of the case? Well, the defense agreed with the prosecution on practically every single point that he made.
It's true. It's weird. It's like, it's absurd. And it's like, yeah, that was my point.
That's an interesting way of defending the film. But I got to say, like, I like this movie. I don't love it. I'm a fan of the franchise, but it took me a while to get into it until I just eventually kind of surrendered to it, but I'm definitely in now. But F9 is, I think, in terms of the good movies, because there's a few bad ones, I think that this is maybe in the middle. Not nearly close to the top, but not nearly close to the bottom.
What is the bottom?
I was going to say, for
the bottom is 2.
What's the worst?
2.
2 is the worst. I don't care for 1. There's some stuff in 3 that I don't like. Some of 4 I'm not a fan of, but 5, 6, and 7 are outstanding.
Right, they rebooted themselves at 5, so you think everything past then is good.
I think, yeah, exactly. And then 5 is the reinvention, and then for me, the pinnacle is 6, and then 7 is close, and then 8 is kind of like, it's all right, it's fine. This is kind of like that. It's fine. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, there's some stuff wrong with it, but not offensively bad to me.
This is the one where it kind of feels like they're running out of ideas, though. I mean, it kind of feels a little old hat, and we're kind of yawning at some, like, the action.
Once you go to space, like, really, what can you do that is more than that?
I know, and now we're,
Yeah, no, it is time travel.
It's not the argument that the defense thought it was, like saying going into space is a good thing. Usually that's a bad thing. There's a few exceptions.
And the thing about space stuff is that it's the least interesting.
Because it's only going to get worse from here.
I'm inclined to agree with that, actually. But no, when we actually look at the case, I think it was interesting because Maynard had some good points and Sim had some good points, and they were making the same points, and obviously one was saying, well, that's why it's bad, and the other saying, that's why it's good, which is then obviously why we are in the jury to kind of sort out how we think there. I think Maynard made a good point. Like, this one just lacked some of that star appeal that the other ones had, like not having The Rock hurt. I felt a lot of the action felt blunted compared to, like the submarine coming out of the the ice versus, swinging cars on ropes. I think we have stronger action set pieces and better actors in the older movies, but then like Sim was saying too, it's like, hey, they're just leaning into it. They keep going, they keep pushing the envelope. And there's something interesting about that, like I don't think anyone thought like it would be advisable to probably keep going, but you know what, they did. And there's something to that.
It's not high art,
Right.
but it's high quality practical effects saturated trash. But
Right.
I'm for
Is it
trash.
practical? I don't know that it's
It is not high art, but it's still art nonetheless.
It's unapologetically what it is. It's unapologetically absurd.
Yeah, and we talk about intentionality so much, and this movie is incredibly self-aware. I think Maynard scored a point with saying no one gave the memo to John Cena. It's like they were pulling a prank on him, but everyone else was on, because he was as serious as a heart attack, and it's like, what are you doing? So that is a fair point. In that direction,
but
I would say.
But a big point going against like the unintentionally absurd is that there's no impact. Do you agree with that point?
Oh yeah, that's basically what I say. It's like I didn't. The movie doesn't do a lot to hold my interest. I should say on a second viewing. Like I don't think there's a lot of replay value here. I think the first time you're watching it, you're probably a little more engaged. This was my second or even third time watching it at this point. And it doesn't do a lot for the replay value, But again, like the movie really knows what it's trying to do, and I'm very 50-50 on it, to be honest with you.
All right. Ryan, you have any last thoughts before you lock in a vote?
So I have two thoughts. The space stuff is probably the least interesting because it's not crazier than the magnet chase. And if you're gonna go into space, drive through some asteroids or some shit, I don't care. But do something that's more heightened than just, they're in space now. Yep. Oh,
they drove through a satellite.
Yeah, they drove through the satellite. Okay. Oh, look, they're minions. Ha, ha, ha. But my biggest point is that I love Han, but his survival robs the series of serious mortal stakes. Something that begins with Letty and gets more pronounced as it goes. And as much as I love seeing him with the crew again, with the family, his death is one of the biggest linchpins of the entire franchise. Like, they literally went back in time to tell 3 movies worth because they love the character so much. But bringing him back, I think, is a step in the wrong direction.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that retcon was just...
awful.
Like with Kurt Russell just showing up and like, you weren't dead this whole time, and that's it. Like, it's a 1-minute thing, and he doesn't even service the movie. Han doesn't, not this plot anyway.
I love soap opera, but that is bad soap opera.
Right. And he slept with my sister.
At least did have amnesia, I guess.
Yeah, but Letty
That's
did.
true. That was a godsend. If he did, I might have thrown something.
Well, they already played that card with Letty.
You know what? That's true. They did do the amnesia. Oh, God, there's so many of these goddamn movies.
So, Mr. Rodriguez, lock in your vote. Which way are you leaning?
So, I like the movie, but I try to go with the better case, so guilty.
Mr. Schlender?
I think there was enough there for intentionality where it gets over the line. It's not great, but I'm going to go with not guilty, and we'll put the onus on you, Big Ben.
All right. Well, that's a mistake because I do not like these films. I did try to listen to the case, and like the fact that it's absurd and that's like sort of the defense doesn't really work for me because this is such an interesting series where they start serious and they're continually looking back towards like these earlier moments where they were serious and some of these characters that were, introduced at that point, yet they continually get more insane while still trying to keep every, celebrity they could possibly get to show up for whatever X installment. It's the same formula again and again, except they just get insanier. You can like it if you like the insane action, that's fine, but it doesn't make it good. You're not enthralled, I don't think. So I'm going guilty.
Fair enough.
You have to say the judge thing, Ben.
Yeah, the judge.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was both. Wait, I'm both the judge and the.
No, you're just the foreman. I'm the judge.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dylan just wants you to say he was handsome. Just want you to
Let's
say
go tell that very handsome judge.
Hey, poor guy.
Mr. Foreman, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor. In the case of the people versus F9, we find the defendant guilty.
All right, take that, family.
This court hates
All right. The verdict is so rendered. I hereby sentence F9 to be the last Fast and the Furious sequel. Bring on the requels. Court is adjourned.
Oh, they are going to requel.
Damn it.
This is Furious Mumbly Mumblerson reporting to you live from outside the Reels of Justice here in scenic, crappy Los Angeles. Maynard Bangs, would you care to share your thoughts on the jury's verdict?
I thought the jury's verdict was fair. This brought me no pleasure to do because on paper I really should like this movie. I hope it doesn't affect John Cena's acting career very much. If you want to see John Cena do better work, watch Peacemaker. He's a lot better in that. So, but justice was served.
Thank you, and may I add, I don't like you. And here comes Simeon Goodson. Excuse me, not that I care, but could we get a word on how you feel about today's verdict?
I believe today's verdict was a farce. I do not agree with the verdict at all. I plan to appeal in the very near future. It's unfortunate that as a society we've grown to dislike our own families so much that we're willing to punish a piece of cinematic gold simply because of personal politics. And I think that's really the problem with the country today, is that we're all very divided and not willing to hear out very fair arguments. So that being said, again, I plan to appeal. Congratulations to the other side for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was very boring. That's all we have from the courthouse today. Let's go back to the studio for post-trial analysis. Vroom, vroom.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Dang, but
Hey,
no.
that was a fun case. A very funny.
That was a fun case, and they're gonna have another one, so we'll be able to do that.
So many more.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
gonna keep on coming.
Oh, they're ending after 11.
No, I don't
we'll
buy
see.
that.
We'll
I
see.
don't believe
They're
that.
They've only planned up to 11.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They
You know how many
promised
times
for a
Terry
long
Funk has
time that 11
retired?
is the end.
You know, Terry Funk has retired more times than anyone. You know, you can always come back. How many farewell tours have the Stones had? You know, same thing with the last Fast and the Furious movies. It's never going to end.
And Hobbs and Shaw are basically going to be like the new sequels.
See, that I'd watch more of, though. Hobbs and Shaw is like we took the two good parts of this series and we made our own movie.
But that one was even more absurd.
That was.
That's fine as long as I get The Rock and Statham together. Then I'm more appreciative of
Yeah,
it.
but that movie
I don't mind the absurd as long as you don't also try to put in, as long as you don't try to put in the drama too. Like I don't care about his brother, not even a little.
And like at F8, we're in the, like, wasn't he willing to like have the world nuked to protect his son, and like his brother's like, whatever. See a chump.
Yeah. I got to see the rest of them. But anyway, cool case. So Sim, what have you been up to? What has been keeping you busy?
Just doing shows. I got my new podcast I'm doing. What's Really Good Tho. So that's a fun little project. I don't really know how podcasting works and all that stuff, so I'm figuring it all out, like on the fly. So that's fun. And then, I did season 2 of that damn Michael Che, so that was fun. I'm luxuriating in the fame from that. And then just spots, just trying to do some shows, tell some jokes, write some new stuff.
Yeah. So first on the podcast, the What's Really Good Tho, where do people catch that?
You can check the website, what'sreallygoodtho.com. And then it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That's how you do it.
Okay, so you can definitely find them a lot of places. Yeah, and then you had the season 2 of that damn Michael Che. That had to be a lot of fun. And is there more words of a season 3?
I don't get those words, so I don't know.
Come on, he's me. Tell Che to tell you.
That's code for yes.
All right. I have no idea. I mean, I would love that. I would love to be a part of that, but yeah, I don't like. Yeah.
Tell Che you want to go to WrestleMania with him.
Right.
He's one of the few WrestleMania, one of the few SNL dudes to ever appear at WrestleMania. You tell him you want to go along. No more Colin Jost. You could be Weekend Update now.
I'm not sure that's how it works, but I will say exactly what you said and get back to you as to
there you go.
What the response was.
We will start a petition, and
he will knows what he's talking about.
And so now you've been doing stand up like everywhere, right? You were in China for a long time.
I was in China from 2018 to 2021, and then before that, I was in Abu Dhabi from 2015 to 2018. And now,
all right, and I mean, you were doing stand up the whole time there, right?
I was doing stand up all over, so that was fun.
I mean, were you doing it in English or do you
everything?
Say again?
Everything in English, yeah, all English.
And so all the crowds, I mean, they just pick up on like all the types of jokes like pretty easily.
I mean,
what is it like?
You gotta write for your crowd. Like I wasn't doing the same material I do now. You know what I mean? Like you gotta write for the audience. So it's just I had like whole different sets out there. But yeah, I mean, you do what you got to do. Some of the stuff carries over, and that's like when it's like a really really good joke. But most of the stuff doesn't. Like my whole China set, I can't really do it here.
Well, give us one when you say something like that. Like, what would it be? Or would it get us canceled?
What's the kind of joke that lands with a thud over here?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like people just won't get the references. You know what I mean? It's not anything I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not like just saying awful things. I'm just like local references and cultural things that just people just like won't get. Like they had this word which kind of means like which is nigga. So they would just kind of like stand there saying that. They would just be like nigga, 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 and like that was. So that's like a cultural thing that you could kind of make fun of, and those jokes kind of write themselves. But I wouldn't like come out here and do that set.
I don't know why that joke would be very funny here.
It's a lot of setup. That's the problem.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's definitely cool. Is there anywhere you feel like you want to go next, or you feel like you're going to stay in the States for a while?
Well, I'd like to get to like England, London, those Europe in general, but specifically like England at some point within the year. I guess.
Some number of years.
I don't want to like live out there, but I want to go like do comedy out there. I don't really want to live anywhere else anymore.
Yeah. Well, in England, I mean, they got weird food there.
Right.
So, like salty beef and
like
warm
tea.
beer. I don't think you're going to dig it. Bacon every meal.
Ew.
Now I want to go to England. Bacon every meal?
Sausage.
Hell yeah.
I don't think I would like it. But no, very cool. And hopefully you get to do some even more shows that we can check out soon in the future. And obviously we'll check out What's Really Good Tho. We'll check out the website. Is it what'sreallygoodtho.com?
Yes.
All right, cool. No .org. So you know that, folks.
No, I paid the full $12.
Paid the full $12. You got the good. No cert, no certificate though. No HTTPS, just HTTP.
Right. There's nothing. There's like no login or anything. I don't think I need security.
No. Yep. No. Hacked
Do
already.
not download
Boom.
anything while visiting.
Yeah. Don't.
They're like changing the date and drawing.
Exactly. The only one link you can click and that you can actually trust. Now we always ask for recommendations from our guests for movies that you think people should check out. So what is a movie that people should check out?
I mean, my favorite movie is I always go with Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So if you haven't seen that, I would definitely recommend that.
I've seen it a few times now. What do you like about it?
I mean, it's such a weird, like every time I've watched it. Well, I mean, I've watched it recently, like fine, but I started watching it when I was like really doing crazy shit. So it's just like, it's just like one of those. And I remember it just being like a wild, surreal experience, like the first couple of times I watched it, where I was just like not even really following, but just like kind of in this daze where like it was on loop. And then when I actually followed it and then did research on the guy, I was like, oh, this shit is, a real crazy person. This is dope. But I just Johnny Depp in that is amazing. His lawyer character, that's great. The adrenochrome and all that shit. the Vegas scenes. Like, yeah, I just,
Yeah, Terry Gilliam's
like I've seen it so many times that I'm not like 100% sure what it's about. Like, I just watch it and like go into it. Like, I know he's writing the article and all that, but it's just like,
And have you read any of the Hunter S. Thompson stuff?
Just in passing, nothing.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty interesting stuff. I have a fun story from seeing that movie. It was probably the third or fourth time I saw that movie, but I had a seizure while watching the movie. I don't know if I might have had too much to drink / smoke or whatever, and I paid too much attention to the lights and stuff. But I had a seizure, so I don't think I've watched that movie since then. Just in case it was something triggering in it, but I had seen it before, so I probably would be good on it as long as I wasn't like under the influence or anything. But
ironically, I watched the movie and didn't have a seizure.
What was that, Sim? What'd you say?
I said, but then what's the point of watching the movie?
That may be true. I don't know. Maybe trying to replicate some of the uses of those substances, possibly.
Right.
Plus, it's pretty funny. And Ryan, you said you saw it and you didn't have a seizure.
No.
So you go 1-1.
Yeah, see? It all evens
out. Did you see the Bill Murray, Where the Buffalo Roam?
I did not.
It's another biopic of Hunter S. Thompson.
Okay, is that one relatively new?
No, that's late 80s. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
So, and it's definitely not as good. But if you want to see Bill Murray trying to be Hunter S. Thompson, it's definitely kind of interested and kind of related. You might think it's pretty cool.
Oh, Bill Murray's dope.
Yeah. And Ryan, didn't he had to pull a lot of strings? Didn't he have to do a lot to get that movie made?
So I think they got him to do Ghostbusters because he wanted to make that and The Razor's Edge.
Ghostbusters 2 is what it was.
Yeah, I think it was Ghostbusters 2.
Yes.
No, because that was 1989 and these were 1980 and 1982.
You sure they got him for Ghostbusters?
He never wanted to do that
positive.
movie. Definitely never wanted to do Ghostbusters. I've seen it. Seen Ghostbusters. He's very uninterested the whole time. So my recommendation this week is about another pair of idiots who get shot out into space, and that's Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe from 2022. Through a comedy of errors, Beavis and Butthead get recruited for a high-profile mission for NASA. But after totally screwing up, they get sucked into a black hole and are sent to the year 2022. From there, they continue their lifelong quest to get laid. This feels like it was just a complicated way of bringing Beavis and Butthead to the present day for their upcoming revival series on Paramount+. But I don't care. It was still hilarious all the way through. I still laugh as hard at these kinds of jokes as I did when I was like 9. It takes very smart writing to create truly dumb characters, and Beavis and Butthead are probably the dumbest. I earnestly believe if Shakespeare could be sucked through a black hole to 2022, he would be writing for Beavis and Butthead, and it would somehow be even dirtier. And if you want to check it out, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe is currently streaming on Paramount+. Did you get to watch that one yet, Ryan?
Yes, I did. I liked it.
Did you enjoy it?
I don't think it's as good as Do America, but I liked it.
I would agree with that. I don't think there's
so funny that
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to top. But as far as kind of direct to streaming goes, it's not bad. I like it.
Yeah. There's not like a real message or a theme that it's trying to pass either. Like I thought it would be.
It's rambling. It kind of just it's shambling and rambling.
Yeah. I thought it would kind of try to wax poetic on like, oh, it'll send Beavis and Butthead to 2022, and it turns out they're not all that stupid now compared to people on their phones and stuff. Like,
that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see them grapple with an iPhone. I wanted to see that, but we don't get that.
Yeah, I mean, I do like all the stuff where they're talking to Siri and they think Siri's a real person. That stuff's kind of funny. But yeah, it was still generally really funny, and it makes me excited for the revival.
I can't wait for the revival. Oh,
yeah,
it's gonna be so good.
Schlenzo, what's your recommendation?
All right, first I just want to clear things up. The movie Bill Murray directed is called Quick Change, and that came out in 1990, and he was able to direct that because he appeared in Ghostbusters 2. But, okay.
Now that we recommending Quick Change?
I was thinking about it, but, today puts me in the mood for another seemingly endless movie series that focuses on family, and I'm going with the Hotel Transylvania series, more specifically Hotel Transylvania 2. This 2015... I know, right? 2015 movie stars Adam Sandler as the voice of Dracula as he deals with his growing and shifting family dynamics. You see his grandson, wait for it, may not be a vampire. So Dracula and all of his monster buddies do what they can to bring out the boy's monster side. The cast is a comedic tour de force featuring Mel Brooks, Kevin James, and even David Spade. So I'm hoping they make at least 5 more of these silly movies because they're pretty great.
How many have they
What's
made?
the last one, Dylan? 4
3?
is the last
No,
one.
they did 4. They did 4, and Adam Sandler's not even in it. I'm very conflicted.
Seemingly endless 4.
Yeah, exactly. And they did a series.
And there is a series. So I think there'll be enough interest. We'll start the hashtag. We'll get it out there.
I don't like the design of the characters. Every time I look at it, I don't like the way the characters are designed.
No, that's fine. I mean,
cheap looking. They're cheap looking. It's like they can't do the universal looks, so they have to do like just a left from center kind of knockoff look.
They did their own thing though.
No.
They did their own thing. I don't think they're going for the rip-offs necessarily. I think they wanted it to be their own thing and have their own voice.
Well, I don't think it's a rip-off. Kids are going to want to see the real Dracula.
You keep saying that, man, and I tell you he's 600 years old and dead.
Ryan, what have you got for us?
From Vroom Vroom to Zoom Zoom, my recommendation this week is 1991's The Rocketeer. It's got everything you want in a movie. It's got jetpacks. It's got retro futurism. It's got outstanding practical production values. It's got Jennifer Connelly. And it's got Nazis getting punched in the puss. It's genuinely exciting and unfailingly sincere. Something that feels practically otherworldly in this current IP-saturated marketplace. The Rocketeer is currently streaming on Disney+.
I saw a movie called Nazi Puss Punchers, but it is not, it's not what you described, I don't think, at all.
Completely. I don't know if watching the first 15 minutes counts as
it was really good. It was really good. But no, The Rocketeer is sweet, and you know, Ryan, you were saying that they didn't make summer blockbusters like this anymore.
They don't. They really don't. It has a genuine sense of wonder that I think is missing from a lot of these movies.
See, Hollywood, get some wonder back in there for the man. He needs the wonder.
Now with more wonder.
Now with 100% more wonder. It could be. Could you describe it as wonderful?
Oh, boo!
Thank you. Big Ben, send us on home.
Disney Plus?
Disney? Yeah. Rocketeer's on Disney Plus. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I need to see that one. I was like 6 when I last saw it.
Well,
I'm going to go with another. No, that one. I think my mom would disown me for that one. I'm going to go with another Vin Diesel film and recommend 2000's Pitch Black.
Nice.
It's certainly a bit dated from a CGI perspective, and the modest budget it was shot with shows, but they managed to do a lot with what they had, painting a unique world and situations for the protagonist to navigate. Diesel plays Richard B. Riddick, a murderer, but a hardcore survivalist with the ability to see in environments with no light. And he has a spaceship that crash lands as a prisoner, and these bloodthirsty creatures are all around them with a severe alert version of light. There's people doubting each other. There's conflict. There's survival. It has it all. Not that it needs it, but it also has Claudia Black as a bonus. So turn the lights down and plunge yourself into the darkness as you check out Pitch Black, which is currently available on Peacock or rentable at most platforms.
Any puss punching?
No. I plead the fifth.
Jeez.
Yeah, and Chronicles of Riddick, the follow-up, isn't too bad. Dark Fury, the animated one, is pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I do.
No, Chronicles of Riddick is really good. The director's cut's better.
I have seen Chronicles of Riddick, but
yeah, they put in some key details that were cut out about what is he called, the Furion? I think about the Furion bloodline and stuff. It's really cool. Now, hey Ben, if people wanted to see all the movies we've recommended on this show, how could they do that?
Why don't you check out the Letterboxd list recommendations of justice? It's on Letterboxd, and while you're there, you'll see myself and my buddy Ryan. Give us a follow while you're there.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
There was like a Pitch Black kind of fan film, Ryan. Do you,
I don't know. I don't know about that. I know about I only know about the trilogy. I don't know about anything.
I know there was like a fan film where they partially used some footage from the actual movie. It's called Into Pitch Black. And it's like it's like a TV movie from 2000. But it's like kind of a sequel to Pitch Black, but they use a lot of footage from it, but to explain kind of the backgrounds of a lot of the tertiary characters he meets. So I haven't seen it either, but I know it's part of that series as well.
I thought it was a documentary on the making of.
No, I don't think it is. No, I think it's an actual movie. That's supposed to kind of fill you in with that. And we're supposed to get another one soon. We're supposed to get another. So there, maybe
yeah, he's been talking about it.
Yeah.
But I think the last we heard was 2018.
Yeah, maybe. But no more Fast and the Furious movies. More Chronicles of Riddick movies.
I could get behind that.
Diesel needs to eat.
Yeah. I know. The Fast and the Furious crew travels through time and enters the Chronicles of Riddick universe.
Oh my God.
And Dom has to team up with Riddick.
I need tickets for that now.
Yes, exactly. Let's make it happen, Hollywood. If you're gonna be stupid as fuck, be stupid as fuck.
Right.
And bring John Cena along. Anyway, but with that, we are all out of show, but we want to thank our guest Sim Goodson for joining us. Thank you so much, Sim.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
But yeah, and we are gonna check out what'sreallygoodtho.com and check out the show and the podcast, and we're gonna follow you all around the world like the Grateful Dead.
Oh my goodness,
we'll see you in London and France and Germany for some Nazi puss punching all the way. I had to get one more. All the way.
Stop trying to make fetch happen, Rob. It's not going to happen.
And with that, we hope everyone will join us next time as well as the Reels of Justice keep turning.
Count it.
Fast.
Please follow us on Twitter at Reels of Justice, Instagram Reels of Justice, and Facebook.com/Reels of Justice.